Hello and good evening. Welcome to this episode of A Cup of Joe. I'm your host, Joe, aka Daffy Roth. So today, coming at you a little later than normal. I usually like try to at least get this video out of the way in the morning. But due to work obligations, I had to be at work earlier today. So I'm off now, so I figure I'd get it done. Wasn't really sure what I wanted to talk about today. Today's I've been kind of, I guess, flighty is the best way to describe it. So after kind of thinking about it, I think I kind of landed on a topic that coming off of yesterday's and kind of going into the overall theme of everything. Let's just jump into it. Addictions, and most particularly mine and other things that other people may struggle with. When we talk about addiction, we need to really have an idea of what an addiction is. I know a lot of times you'll sit there and you'll think, well, drugs or alcoholic, being alcoholic, or food, obesity, being addicted to those, really anything you become addicted to, video games, movies, entertainment, sex, anything. For me in particular, it's a combination of a couple things. The big one for me is pornography, and a lot of that comes down to loneliness and wanting something that I don't have. So I seek solace in something else, or a feeling that it brings. So a lot of people, especially in today's world, will look at that and be like, well, that's not a problem, right? Like, we can do that. It's everywhere. Like, it's so accessible. How can it be an addiction? It's everywhere. Well, and I think that's the problem. It affects our relationships. I think for men in general, it affects how we treat our partners. It affects how we treat women in general. I have to be careful because I don't want to offend anyone. But at the same time, I want to really show the ugliness of it. And the fact of the matter is that when it comes to pornography, like, we don't really think about how your partner may view that and how they see, and how it affects them and their mental, image of themselves. We're seeking solace in other things, right? In somebody else, whether it be a fantasy, whether it be something else. For me, I always look for approximations of something that I'm looking for. Really, for me, what it is the eye contact between two people. It's weird, but whatever. Like, it's that intimacy because it's something that I desire so much. So when it comes down to this, and it's something for me that's been part of my life since first grade. I'll be turning 39 here in a couple days, and having it been in my life for so long and having destroyed so many relationships that I've been in, you would think that I just be like, nah, screw it, I'm done with it. But the problem is that's how insidious it is. And for me, it is like a drug, right? Like, you start off with one, like softcore, and then hardcore, and then it just starts to snowball from there. It's like, what's the next best thing? And when it comes to that, probably hasn't been anything at this point. So, and and that's the scary part, is that, like, where does it stop? And with it being so accessible, with it being so easy to get your hands on, it's hard to really just be like, okay, well, I mean, at this point, like, I feel like I just need to unplug and just disappear, and maybe then things will get better. And it's the fact of the matter is that's not how it works. It takes. Yeah, I mean, that is part of it. Unplugging, removing the the instruments of the addiction, removing the instruments of where you can get access to it, so you limit access to what you have. That's and then the other part of it is just fantasy in general, whether it be video games, whether it be you know what have you. I can get lost in something else and be somebody else for a while and play a life that I wish I can have, or whatever. So a lot of that just kind of comes together into one little package. So really, I just want to say that the reason I'm really saying this is because people don't really view pornography as an addiction or whatever, and the fact of the matter is it is, and there needs to be more attention brought to it. And how you go about doing that, I don't know. People have their own views on it, and that's fine. A lot of people can do many things and not get addicted to things. It's just a matter of how it affects you and how it affects relationships and other things like that. And if it starts to become a problem, then it's a problem. Having had an incredibly close friend struggle with alcoholism, and having been by their side and try to help them in those times and in those times of struggles, and seeing trying them trying to make themselves better, and consistently falling until finally they made that choice to make a stand. But seeing that victory and seeing it to fruition, that's ultimately the awesome thing with that. And it's a victory that I hope that I can attain someday. So you may ask, so Joe, what does this have to do with anything? You're just rambling. The fact of the matter is it does come down to what we've been discussing as far as renewing your mind and getting into routine, making yourself busy, finding different outlets. Like, if you just you've heard the phrase, idle hands is devil workshop, and for the most part it's true. You sit around, you're playing games, you're just sitting there watching, consuming entertainment. Like, it's for me, like, that's really how it comes about. I eat food, or snacking, and it's like, well, I find comfort in food too, so I guess that's where I go to. But it's how you approach these things. It's funny that when it comes to things for me, like, I'm one to make grand gestures, whether it be in love, whether it be in just relationships in general. Like, I want people to know that I care about them and I care about them greatly, and I'll go to great lengths to do that. Um, and it really never occurred to me that when it comes to people that are fighting addictions, that um, my friend, for instance, they always said, you know, like, I don't want people to have to change their life because of me. I don't want to, be an inconvenience to other people. And the fact of the matter is no. Like, we're in this together. You struggle with things, like whether it be family, whether it be whatever, like, you need that support. You need that help. And it starts by having, the people around you. It does. They need to, if they truly care about you, if they truly love, there's no judgment there. There should never be judgment, right? Like, that to me would be ridiculous. If you're coming in out of the cold and you just get judged, like, that's not how you approach that. You need to approach it with love. You need to approach it with care. But like, you don't go to a meth house or whatever when you're suffering from a drug addiction and try to seek help there. Like, no. Like, you wouldn't bring home out, I guess my point is this, is that when somebody's fighting an addiction, you need to change how you live too, to help this person. And for instance, like, for me, like, I made the choice for my friend that even though I don't see them, and I mean, at this point, we're not even friends anymore, but I mean, I still made the choice that I'm just not going to drink at all, ever. And it's been like that for about 1.5 years now for me. I wasn't a big drinker, but it is kind of funny. Like, when I made that choice, I was like, oh, but, I do. I mean, I would drink, but I would drink to get completely and utterly trashed, which isn't necessarily healthy. But my point is that I made that choice. And then as soon as I made that choice, it was like, yeah, but you're going to miss out on all these things. And the fact of the matter is I don't need to drink to have fun. I can have fun and not, drink. So, but the thing is that even if I'm not in their life, when I do have that urge to drink, when I do have that desire, I can stop and I can think about them and I can pray for them. For me, it's prayer. Whether, if you don't believe in prayer, like, send out good vibes to the universe, whatever. The fact of the matter is that it's it's not so much consolidation, but like we're in this together. I can't think of the word, unification, maybe. But really, where it struck home again was, in the Bible, when Paul was talking about, brothers and sisters in Christ struggling with certain things. And, there was a passage where he's like, if my brother doesn't eat meat, like, should I eat meat around him? He's like, no, it's better that I just abstain from it altogether than be a stumbling block in front of him. And that's kind of how it is, right? Like, just abstain from it altogether. And, like, yeah, when it comes to addictions, you need support. You need friends. You can't fight things alone. You may think you can. If you who's ever watching is struggling with something and you know what you struggle with, you may think you can handle things alone. You may think you can do it, but you can't. It's just the lies. It's you lying to yourself. It's the enemy lying to you, however you want to look at it. You're in bondage to this. And if you truly want to be free, you need to reach out for help. Reach out for help. I urge you to take the steps that are necessary to do it. I know I have a problem and I need to do certain things and I don't want to, but I know I have to. What that looks like, I honestly don't know, but but find help. Be honest with yourself. You don't have the strength to do this. Don't fight. You can't fight the battle alone. You may think you can, but you can't. Don't lie to yourself. So yeah. That's really my ramble for today. Like, what you guys struggle with. We're all in this together. If anything, I just want to see everybody be happy and be free and not struggle with anything. That's my halt. That's what I want, but I know that's not a realistic thing. We're always going to struggle with something. But if you think about it like this, is that if you take those first steps to become free of whatever's holding you down, of whatever holds you in bondage, think of how many other people that you can help save. That, my friends, is what it's all about. Lead the way, walk that path, so you can help guide those who come behind you. So, with that being said, I think I have some friends of mine that are working on some music for an intro and an outro to this particular part of this channel. So look forward to that. I would like to, at some point, if people feel comfortable, start chatting in the comments below. We're all in this together. I just ask that people be respectful and courteous of one another, because these are incredibly, it's hard to open up and it's hard to be honest with other people. We're always afraid of what people may think, but no addiction is worse than another. So, well, my friends, I think I've gone long enough tonight. So, that being said, may all your stories be glad ones, and may the road be smooth and short. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Rest well, and I'll see you in the morning. Bye-bye.